She sat on the edge of the couch, scrolling, thumb moving like a metronome. I stood by the kitchen island with 2 flight options open on my laptop. Let's take a long weekend, I offered. Florida. Sleep. Swim. Remember we like each other. She didn't look up. Hard pass. Since when do you pass on the beach? Since I got bored. She finally flicked her eyes at me. Sunburn and your schedule? No thanks. If I'd known where that tone was headed, I would have poured my coffee down the drain and saved us both a week. I closed the laptop. No drama. Just noted the temperature drop. I used to chalk it up to stress. That night made me stop pretending. I took the trash out and came back to find her staring at a mirror on the wall like it had insulted her. She checked her hair, checked me, and went back to the mirror. You're out late a lot, I said. Girls' nights keep multiplying? It's called having a life. She slipped on a jacket. Don't wait up. I don't. She was already at the door when I added. I'll be reallocating my evenings then. She turned with a smirk. Reallocating. I'm removing myself from plans where I feel like background noise. New rule. Thursday nights, I'm out. No debates. Her eyebrow went up. Trying to be interesting now? Trying to be honest. She left laughing under her breath. It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. I called Mike that first Thursday. He's a contractor who laughs like he's testing a power drill. We've known each other since we were dumb enough to think all string lights are the same length. Bar down the street? He asked. Not in the mood to perform, I said. Let's keep it quiet. We took the corner table near the pool cue board. He ordered wings. I stuck to a burger. We talked Broncos, budgets, backyard gutters. Nothing heavy. That was the point. Halfway through, my phone lit up. Her, where are you? I typed back. Busy. We'll figure the weekend later. Her bubble popped up, then vanished. No follow-up. When I got home, the living room lights were on, TV muted, her shoes on the rug like she'd kicked them off mid-sprint. She didn't ask about my night. Instead, she glanced at my plate in the sink. Grease again. I shrugged. It was a good burger. Right. She turned back to her show. You should try salads. I'll live. She stretched over the couch arm like she was posing for a catalog I couldn't afford. Maybe. Maybe not. That maybe wasn't new. The contempt was. The next morning, I moved the whiteboard calendar off the fridge. I wiped our shared plans clean and added only mine. Thursday hangout, Saturday range time with Jordan, Sunday service with my dad. She watched with a spoon in a yogurt cup. What are you doing? She asked. Simplifying. So you're what? Reclaiming your time. Exactly. Let me know if there's a real plan I need to consider. Otherwise, I'll manage mine. She clicked the spoon against the cup. I don't need your permission to have fun. Never said you did. You act like a hall monitor. Then ignore me like a senior. She glared, and I kept wiping. That night she went out with the girls again. The story didn't change, but the bile in her delivery sharpened. 2 days later, a gentle hand appeared at the edge of my day. She brought coffee to the garage while I was changing the oil in the truck. I got your favorite, she said, biting off the plastic lid with her teeth and handing me the cup. Thanks. I didn't take a sip. What's the new rule costing you today? She folded her arms. Can I not just be nice? You can. It's rare lately. Makes me suspicious, but not rude. She leaned on the workbench. You used to do this stuff without the commentary. I used to assume we were on the same team. We are. No, we're not, I replied. You're on a team that's busy every night. She huffed. Fine. Do what you want. I am. She left the coffee on the bench like a peace offering she wanted me to choke on. Her sudden kindness lasted exactly 12 hours. By dinner, she was mocking my Thursday rule to a captive audience. My neighbor, Mark, had wandered over to return a socket wrench, and she decided to play hostess. Look at him, she told Mark, slicing a pepper like it owed her money. He's got a rule now. Thursdays, he schedules his feelings. Mark tried a joke. Maybe he scheduled wings for me too. Possibly, I cut in. But not commentary. She snorted. Tell him how you made a calendar, babe. I wiped my hands. Sure. I stopped assuming my time is a communal property. It's healthier. Mark raised both palms. I'm just here with a wrench, folks. Thanks for the wrench, Mark, I said, making it easy for him to leave. He took the hint. After the door closed, she tossed the knife into the sink like it misbehaved. You embarrassed me in front of him, she said. You embarrassed yourself. I set a boundary. There's a difference. You're being dramatic. No, I said, and went for my running shoes. I'm being done. I started jogging most nights. If she came home late, she came home to a shower running and an empty kitchen. I wasn't punishing, I was busy. There's a difference, and men my age know it without a TED Talk. The girl's nights multiplied, and then the crack in her story arrived from a direction I didn't expect. Our mutual friend, Lisa, who runs a spin studio and is allergic to silence. She ran into me at the grocery store near the deli counter. "How's Maya?" she asked, casual but loaded. "She's busy." "Yeah? Haven't seen her in weeks. Thought you two were doing Thursday drinks." Lisa blinked. "No. She texted a couple times, but I've been slammed." "What?" I put down the pack of turkey. "So, she hasn't been with you." Lisa's eyes did a quick calculation. "I don't want to be in the middle." "You're not," I said. "You just helped me move a puzzle piece." She grimaced. "She'll be mad I talked." "No, she'll be mad I listened." That night, I kept quiet. I watched. I counted. She left at 7:30 with a casual, "Back late." I nodded and went to the garage. At 9:15, I texted Jordan, a guy from the shop who sees more than he says. "You still know that PI you used for the stolen tools issue?" I wrote. "Yeah. Dave S. Good guy. Straight shooter," he replied. "Pass his number." He did. I didn't snoop through her phone. I didn't tail her car. I called Dave and said the words you say when you're done guessing. "I'm not looking for drama," I told him. "I'm looking for facts." Dave met me in a booth at a cafeteria near my office. He's one of those men who blends in. Neutral shirts, bad coffee, quiet eyes. "Give me a couple days," he said. "You'll get a full report. Photos, times." "How invasive is this?" He shrugged. "Less invasive than a lie you live in for 6 months." I slid an envelope across the table. 2 days. He took it. "You'll get what you need." Back home, Maya tried out a softer tone again. She found me in the driveway. Hood up, wipers up, hands dirty. "You're really leaning into this garage husband thing," she said, half teasing. "Trying to keep what I own running." She stepped closer. "We should try a wine tasting Saturday. My treat. Make it nice." I watched her for a second. The pitch was too clean, like a scripted apology. "Saturday afternoon, I'm booked." "Doing what?" "Breathing." She let out a laugh that wasn't a laugh. "God, you're stubborn." Accurate. She played with my sleeve. "Come on. I want to have fun. Enjoy." She withdrew her hand. "Suit yourself." By Friday, Dave sent a text. "Report ready. Meet." I met him in the same booth. He slid a manila folder across. No theatrics. He had timestamps and photographs. Maya with a guy I'd never seen, sitting close in a booth at a restaurant across town. Later, the two of them near the entrance of a low-lit motel with the kind of parking lot that kills alibis. Dave kept it clinical. That's what I paid for. He didn't sell outrage. He sold clarity. "You okay?" he asked. "I've been better," I answered. "But I've also been dumber." He nodded once. "You don't have to use any of it. Sometimes just knowing is enough." Knowing changes my schedule. When I got home, the house looked the same. That's the thing about reality. It doesn't announce itself. It just sits there and waits for you to catch up. I pulled the big suitcase from the hall closet and started folding her clothes. Not angry. Efficient. Shirts, dresses, a pile of shoes that never looked comfortable. I put her makeup bag on top, like a courtesy. I set the suitcase by the door and a second duffel next to it with her gym stuff. Then I changed the front door locks. 15 minutes if you've done it before. 20 if you haven't. I had. I moved the spare key from its fake rock and into my pocket. Her framed photo from a ski trip went off the mantle. I didn't smash it. I wrapped it in an old towel and slid it into the suitcase side pocket. There's dignity in the way you clear a space. When I was done, the entryway looked like a staging area for a short trip with no return date. I sat in the armchair and waited. The report lay on the coffee table, the first photo face down. She came home at 10:40. The door didn't budge under her key. I watched the handle rattle, then her knock. I opened. "What's wrong with the lock?" she asked, stepping forward like I was in her way. Updated. Her eyes flicked to the luggage. "What is this? Inventory control. Are you serious?" "Very." She scoffed. "Stop with the bit." I turned the folder over and slid the first photo to the top. I didn't throw it or wave it. I placed it gently on the table like a bill. She stared at it. Her expression didn't crack. It didn't even move much. She swallowed once and looked up. So, I echoed. She walked past me, grabbed a water from the fridge, and leaned on the counter like we were doing a kitchen remodel consultation. You going to be dramatic? She asked. No, I'm going to be clear. You've been clear all week. Tonight I'm done. She laughed. You can't be serious. You think you're going to throw me out of my life. I'm not throwing you. I'm letting you go where you've already been. You'll regret making a scene, she said. You always calm down. Not this time. She flicked a look at the photo again. You think you're the only man who knows what his wife does with her time. I think I'm the only man in this room who respects himself. Listen, she set the water down. You know you won't find better than me. You know it. We've built the whole thing here. You're not going to toss it because you finally grew a spine and printed pictures. I picked up the suitcase handle and rolled it toward her. I'm sure I won't find worse than you. For the first time, something flashed in her eyes. Not shame. Calculation. She stepped closer. You're not going to do this, she said quietly. I just did. You'll be back to begging by Sunday. I'll be at Mike's on Sunday. You're going to regret humiliating me. You've been practicing on me for months, I said. Consider the score even. She made a show of rolling her eyes and snapped the suitcase handle up. You'll crawl back. Save your breath, I replied. You're going to need it where you're staying. She dragged the suitcase to the porch, grabbed the duffel, and tossed. You're going to call tomorrow. I won't pick up. Do me a favor, I said, holding the door open. Put your key on the table. She held up the key, then dropped it in the little dish we used for spare change. She walked out with a smile that didn't touch anything real. The door clicked behind her. I locked it. I didn't watch from the window. There was nothing to see I hadn't already looked at on paper. At 8 the next morning, I filed for divorce. Simple as ordering a sandwich when you know what you like. No speeches. No threats. I called my bank to separate the joint credit card. I turned off the auto pays for her gym membership and streaming accounts. I made 2 lists, mine and not mine. When the clerk stamped the papers, she didn't ask why. She didn't have to. By Monday, my schedule felt unfamiliar in a good way. After work, I met Mike and Jordan at a small bar that doesn't try to be edgy. Onion rings came on a red plastic tray. A game murmured from a TV in the corner. Mike lifted a brow. You okay? I'm good, I said. I'm not pretending anymore. Jordan pushed a glass toward me. No pep talk from me. Just a question. What do you want this week? Noise, I said, laughing that doesn't come with conditions. Done, Mike said, and clapped me on the shoulder. It turns out when you remove a performance from your life, you get time back. I went to the range with Jordan that Saturday, grabbed tacos with a couple from my gym on Sunday afternoon, and took my dad to breakfast at the diner he likes because it never changes the menu. I wasn't filling a hole. I was living like a man who finally put his foot down on a slippery floor. Maya texted occasionally during that week, the way someone tested a locked door at different times of day to see if it's magically unlocked. Hey, can we talk? Call me when you're done being mad. I have things at the house I need. You don't get to throw away a marriage. I kept responses short and transactional. Your things are safe. Tell me what you need, and I'll set it outside. No discussion. It's done. She tried a different tactic midweek. A photo of a meal, candles set up at her friend's apartment. We could reset. The sudden sweetness felt like a discount sign in a boutique store. More about moving product than caring if it fits. Not interested, I replied. You're being stubborn. I'm being consistent. She stopped for 2 days. I thought maybe that was it. I underestimated the power of losing control over a man she'd been training to tolerate nonsense. Friday night, Mike dragged me to a spot downtown to listen to a cover band and pretend we didn't have early mornings. We kept it light. I danced with a woman named Claire who works in marketing for a company that makes garden tools. Her laugh was easy. She didn't ask me to fix anything that night. I didn't volunteer to. On my way home, later than usual, an hour that looks different when you know no one expects you, my phone buzzed. 5 missed calls from Maya, for messages that began measured and slid into frantic. I didn't listen to the last one. My street was quiet. My porch light was on. She sat on the step with her makeup smudged, hair pulled into a knot that looked like she fought it and lost. When she saw my truck, she stood and tried to compose herself, then dropped the effort and ran to me. Thank God, she said, arms opening. You're here. I stopped 3 feet from her. What are you doing in front of my door? You changed the locks, she said, voice breaking. I couldn't get in. That's intentional. She reached for me. I kept my hands in my jacket pockets. She looked wounded by the air between us. You're not going to hug me? She asked. Of course not. I answered level. I don't want to see you. She swiped at her face. Please. I made a mistake. Let me guess, I said. He wrote you a goodbye. She froze. A full 2 seconds. Then she tried a brave face. No. I realized I love you and left. Then you should apologize to him, I replied, stepping around her. Because you're not coming back to me. She grabbed my sleeve. I peeled it free without force. Wait. Don't do this. I walked to the door. She raised her voice. Yes. He left me. Are you happy now? I turned the key in the new lock. I'm not happy, Maya, I said. I'm done. Please, she begged. I can be better. I'll do anything. I don't want anything from you, I said, opened the door, stepped inside, and closed it. No slam. Just the final click of logic. She kept calling for 10 minutes. Then 15. I made a cup of tea and sat at the table Dave had seen, the one where the photos had lived. I remembered her line, "You won't find better than me," and felt a small, clean laugh move through me. Not mocking, just relieved I didn't swallow it. The next morning she called again. I didn't answer. She texted. Can we talk in person? She wrote. No, I typed. Your things are packed. Tell me when to leave them on the porch. She switched to apology freighted with future promises, then to anger dressed as concern. You're ruining your life. False, I replied. You'll be alone. I'm not alone. I wrote back and put the phone on Do Not Disturb for the first time in months for reasons that had nothing to do with sleep. At work, people noticed I was lighter. My boss, Dane, stopped by my cubicle. You look like someone took a weight off your back, he said. I took it off myself, I answered. He nodded like a man who's worn a similar weight. You're leading the site visit at noon. Bring that energy. I did. At lunch, Jordan tapped his water bottle against mine. Your face, he said. It's different. Feels like it fits, I told him. That weekend, a second wave of Maya's strategy rolled in. Full charm offensive. She sent a picture from an old trip, typed out a long paragraph about memories, promised counseling, promised patience, promised to cook every meal for a month, promised to be the wife you need. She asked to meet for coffee. I told her I don't meet for coffee with people who tried to negotiate my worth. You're punishing me, she wrote. I'm protecting me, I replied. Sunday afternoon, I saw her car turn onto our street. She stopped, stared at the house like it owed her something, and then saw my truck. I opened the garage door. She stayed in her car. I picked up the packed boxes, carried them to the porch, set them down. She rolled her window down 3 inches. You're really doing this, she said. You already did, I answered. I never thought you'd go through with it. That was your error. You'll call, she said low. I know you. You knew the version of me that tolerated disrespect because I thought it would buy peace. That inventory sold out. She rolled the window up and drove away. I didn't lock myself in the house and grieve. I didn't give a speech to a mirror. I met Mike and Jordan at a backyard barbecue at Jordan's cousin's place. New crowd. Fresh air. No one asked me to tell the story. They just handed me a plate and introduced me to people by my name, not by my damage. I threw a football with a kid who took it too seriously. I listened to an old blues track on a portable speaker. I watched the light move across a fence and found the quiet in it. Real quiet. Not the forced kind you manufacture after a fight. By the end of the week, I'd removed the last of her mail from the entry bench, put it in a neat stack with a note taped to it. Pick up any evening between 6 and 8. Porch only. She came once, picked it up with a face like she'd eaten something sour, and left without knocking. The legal pieces moved forward in the background, like a slow-moving freight train you can hear but don't need to watch. I kept receipts of the basic stuff. I didn't try to punish her through paperwork. I kept the house. Most of the furniture. The dog, if we'd had one, would have stayed too. We didn't, which is probably why the living room looked bigger than it had in months. Nights changed. I didn't sit in silence. I learned to enjoy it. I went to a trivia night with a couple from the gym. The host had terrible puns. I didn't mind. I went out on a Wednesday with Claire from the cover band night. We ate tacos from a truck and argued about which neighborhood had the best street trees. She didn't try to fix me. I didn't try to sell her a promise. We talked like two adults with options. Did you ever think your life would look like this? She asked. Better than the alternative, I said. What alternative? Being invisible in the house I pay for. She smiled. That sounds blunt. It is. She looked me over, as if recalibrating her idea of me. Good. 1 month out, the texts from Maya thinned out, then came in spikes when she'd hear from mutual friends that I was out living. I don't know exactly what she told people. I didn't supply my own version either. If someone asked, I said, we didn't treat each other well. I ended it. That answer either quieted them or opened a door for them to tell me their stories. Either way, I went to bed without replaying a thing. Lisa from the spin studio ran into me again and folded her arms like a referee. You okay? She asked stern. I'm north of okay. She's not, Lisa said. She's not my problem. Lisa stared, then nodded. Good answer. 2 months out, the house felt like a new place without a moving truck. I repainted our bedroom a simple gray, switched out the heavy curtains for blinds, and moved her mirror to the upstairs closet. Not dramatic, just removing echoes. I also started saying yes to small things I'd said no to for years because they disrupted someone else's control. A weekend fishing trip with Jordan, a pickup basketball game where my knees protested, a Saturday morning farmer's market where the tomatoes looked like someone cared. It's not that I became a different man. I just stopped being managed. The last time I saw Maya in person was accidental. I was walking out of a hardware store with a box of screws when she walked in, head down, shoulders tight. She saw me, blinked like a camera flash, and faltered. Hey, she said. Hey, you look fine. I am. She pushed hair behind her ear. I didn't think you'd actually go on with your life like this. I told you I would. I thought that was posturing. I don't posture. She glanced at my truck, at the box of screws. Are you fixing something? Always. She swallowed. I miss you. I miss the idea of who we were supposed to be, I replied. Not the version we became. You don't have to be cruel. This isn't cruel, I said. This is honest. She nodded, jaw working. If you ever. I won't. Her mouth pressed into a line. You'll regret it. I doubt it, I said, and walked past her, not out of spite, but because there was no reason left to stand in the doorway of a store and pretend we had lines left to deliver. My life since looks like something a calm man builds. The house is mine, and it feels that way. The truck starts when I ask it to. My friends are around because they want to be, not because I need witnesses. I started taking on more at work, not because I needed to hide, but because I had energy again. Dane put me on 2 site visits in the same week. I didn't fold. Most nights I still see the guys. Not as a distraction, just as a habit I like. We'll hit the same bar, or Jordan's garage, or a new pizza place that doesn't try too hard. Sometimes Claire joins. We're not rushing anything. We show up, we laugh, we leave on time, and no one owes anyone a speech for existing. If you asked me what I learned, I'd keep it simple. When a man stops trying to buy respect with silence, his life changes in measurable ways. He goes to bed earlier. He breathes easier. He says no without an explanation paragraph. He smiles at small things, a timer that dings on the grill, a clean garage floor, a message from a friend, that don't need to be posted to have value. Maya's world, from what filters through, didn't get better with distance. The man she gambled on didn't stick. Her lease renewal fell through. She bounced between couches for a bit. She tried to be seen in the same places we used to go. People saw through it. That's not revenge. That's a market correction. She sent one final text months later. I hope you're happy, she wrote. I am, I replied. There was nothing more to say. I keep the photos Dave took in a sealed envelope in the bottom drawer of my desk. Not because I plan to look at them. Because I don't. They're not for rage or memory or bragging. They're proof that when the numbers don't lie, you don't argue with the math. If I could go back to that night with the flights open on my laptop, watching her thumb flick through a feed like it was feeding her, I'd still offer the beach trip once. Just once. Then, instead of trying to earn warmth from a cold room, I'd do exactly what I did. Establish new rules, confirm reality, and step out clean. We want heroics to look like car chases. It's quieter than that. It's a man standing at his own front door, changing a lock, and deciding who belongs on the other side. It's a line delivered without heat. I'm sure I won't find worse than you. and a suitcase rolled to a porch without a scene. That was the point. No speeches, no threats, no tantrums, just an exit with my head up and my dignity intact. And if you think that's unromantic, you've never slept the way I sleep now.